What's going on, y'all? Y'all tuned in to another episode of What's Up with 80 West. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, follow, share. Everything is What's Up with 80 West at IG and at YouTube. You know, we top in on a bunch of different topics here, man. How everybody been, man? It's been a minute, you know what I'm saying? But we back on. Today we're going to talk about the lady, Kendra Scott, out of Memphis, Tennessee, who has been charged with murder. For shooting a young man that was found in her home with her young daughter. And, you know, a lot of people are having different, views and viewpoints on what took place. And so from the information I gathered was that the young boy, who appeared to be a young boy, he looked like a little boy, but come to find out he was like 20 years old, was at her house with her underage daughter. And she seen the young man on the camera. The young man, I guess, apparently hid underneath the bed. When he got wind of her getting into the house or whatnot, she let the young man gather his stuff, leave the house, and then she shot him in the back of the head. So you can see where some discrepancies are coming in. Now, first, I'm gonna be the first to say this off the rip. You know what I'm saying? The young man didn't have no business at her establishment. I mean, we're gonna start off with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what age you was. You didn't have no business there, period. You know what I'm saying? So for him to be an overage, make it even worse. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have mattered if he was 15. He still didn't have no business over there. You see what I'm saying? So that's rule number one. Understanding first, number one. The young man there, as a young man, if you listening to this, you don't never, ever go to somebody else's crib. You know what I'm saying? To no adult's crib does not, you weren't invited by that adult, then don't go to that house. You know what I'm saying? And as a young man, there's so many different things that can go wrong with you going to a young lady's house. And that goes from being a teenager to even being an adult. You see what I'm saying? So I would advise any young man, any grown man there's too many dangers that come along with going to a lady's house, a young lady's house, woman's house, whatever it is. So as a male, you got to understand that it comes a lot of things that come along with that. However, this young man was unalived. And so you get a lot of people that saying that she shouldn't have been charged with murder. And then you get a lot of people that understand the law, you know what I'm saying, and the basis of the law. So I'm gonna break that down for y'all because a lot of people I don't think are have the knowledge, and a lot of people are just speaking off of emotion. Now, she seen this young man on the camera, which means she knew that he was inside of her house. She came to her house, let the man gather his stuff, let him leave, and then shot him in the back of the head. So what that means is the threat was already secured. The threat was already on its way out. You already identified the threat, and you let the threat was no longer. Basically, at that point, the threat was no longer at that point. Now, I know a lot of people gonna say, "Oh, well, since he was over age, he's a." I get all of that. I'm 100% understanding of that. But the way that she went about it is the reason that she's being charged with murder. Now, if she came in that house and whatever took place in the house, that would have been a whole different understanding. But if you let that young man gather his stuff, walk out the door, leave, and then you execute him out in the front of the crib, that's a whole different charge. So I understand the emotional part of it. You know what I'm saying? As a father, I would have lost my goddamn marbles. Ain't no telling how the results of that would have been. So I totally, on that end, 100% understand. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's laws in place for a reason. Now, if you felt that your life was in danger, your daughter's life was in danger in your house, and then you did what you did, then yeah, that'd be something different. But the whole purpose is to secure the threat. And the threat was secured once that young man gathered his stuff and let out. And then you got the daughter that's traumatized about what took place. And the first thing that she told the authorities was that her mom had told her that if she ever catch a boy in the house, she was gonna put a hole in their ass. So so that already lets you know where the mindset was at of all of this. You see what I'm saying? And it's sad on both ends. You know what I'm saying? It's sad on both ends because now, that mother gonna be gone. Obviously, there's no father in the home, and this is a big result of that. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, don't understand it, but this is a byproduct of no man being in the house. No man being in the house. I can almost guarantee you 100% if there was a father in the house, that little girl wouldn't even thought twice about bringing no boy over that house. Period, point blank. You see what I'm saying? So this is a direct byproduct of that. You know what I'm saying? So we got to look at all of these. We got to look at all of these dynamics. You know what I mean? When we have these discussions and things that's going on, it's easy to point out the obvious. You know what I'm saying? The boy didn't have no business in that house. Period, point blank. Then on top of it, it makes it worse because he was an adult messing with a minor. So that's already a no-go. You feel me? So I think a lot of people are emotionally wrapped into it because of that aspect. You know what I'm saying? And when I seen the picture at first, I seen the picture before I seen how old he was. He looked like he's about 14 years old. He looked like a little ass kid. Nevertheless, he was a grown man. You know what I mean? So to let that boy gather his stuff and walk out and didn't pose no threat, and the cameras was in the house for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I'm a firm believer of that and understanding that too. That was for what was going on in the crib. So obviously the mom had been aware that the daughter had probably done these type of things before. You know what I'm saying? So that still comes back down to parenting. Obviously, yeah, parents can't be at the crib all the time. I grew up in a single parent household. I know how that goes. But if you respect what your parents is talking about, some shit you just ain't gonna do. You know what I mean? So, everybody can boo-hoo this and boo-hoo that. But I mean, a lot of this still come down to parenting. If your kids is respecting what you saying, they would never. They would never. And even if they tried it, I mean, in this day and age with cameras, nobody had cameras in the houses and shit when we was younger. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no cameras in the crib and all that kind of shit when we was younger. Now with all this new technology, I mean, shit, you gotta be smarter too. You know what's going on. You know shit's going on in your crib. You know it's a probability that you got a kid that does some bullshit that needs to be addressed. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard as parents. I'm not saying that there's a method for it and this and that and other, but it's just unfortunate. And this has a lot to do with a single parent household. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm a firm believer of that. You know what I'm saying? That if there was a man in the household, this would have never took place. Some shit just ain't gonna take place when it's a man in the house. It's just not gonna happen. You feel what I'm saying? Them kids know to go elsewhere with the bullshit or end up being something else going on, or the reinforcement is understood that this ain't how we get down. You feel what I'm saying? And we're missing a lot of that in our culture, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? We got our influences ain't the influences that they should be. You know what I'm saying? You get more influences of negative than you do a positive. You see what I'm saying? And these are the effects of that. What would even cross a 13-year-old's mind to have a 20-year-old in the fucking house? You see what I'm saying? So that lets me know there was some problem with the infrastructure from the jump. You know what I'm saying? And that's a parenting situation. You know what I mean? I always resort back to the parent. What kind of parent are you? I'm not saying that all kids are good. My kids, I know they done some shit here and there, but the values that I've installed in them, they know when there's a limit. You see what I'm saying? They know, okay, well, this, they might, do this, do a little, but my kids ain't never did nothing egregious. You feel what I'm saying? And that just goes back to how you handle things as a parent. You feel what I'm saying? But it's unfortunate. The young man lost his life, regardless of, you know what I'm saying, whatever. He shouldn't have been there. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what eliminates a lot of just the straight up shenanigans, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously if he messing with an underage chick, then yeah, I mean, that puts a little bit more seasoning on the salt. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? A lot of people gonna feel that's the way he should have ended up. You feel what I'm saying? And I agree. You know what I'm saying? I'm not with none of the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But it's just certain ways that you go about shit. And now, unfortunately, the little girl gonna be traumatized for the rest of her life. Mama gonna be gone for the rest of her life. Little boy or the young man that lost his life. It's a lose for everybody. They could have been avoided had the infrastructure been a little bit more solid from the jump. So I look at this as a parenting situation. I look at this as something to learn from. And for men in general, I don't give a damn if you 15, 25, 45. Man, stop going to a lot of these women's house. You can't just go. There's so many dangers that come along with going to a woman's house, man. I'm telling you. You don't know what type of environment is going on at a female's house. And that's for the young bulls. I remember when we was young, we used to do a lot of that, pulling up. Man, I done had more altercations with dudes behind they females, or you know what I'm saying, shit like that, than that's where majority of my problems came from. Somebody mad behind they female. You see what I'm saying? So just as men, we have to operate differently. We gotta teach these young boys how to operate a little differently. You know what I'm saying? And you know, when you're on that mission, you know what I'm saying? Everybody know that as a man, you know that mission that you be on when you own that. Sometimes you gotta think with the big head, man, and not the little one, man, because I'm telling you, it'll get you killed. It'll get you killed. I'm telling you, I done been in some real life confrontations, chilling, you know what I'm saying, with a young lady or whatever at her residence, and you know what I'm saying, somebody done, you know, bust it all in, you know, man, you know, but she trying to move a different direction, but he ain't trying to let it go. Now I'm in the middle of the shit because I'm over there, and man, listen, I done been through that several times to where you really gotta be wise if you gonna pull up. Just know you taking a chance. So, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I don't never go nowhere without that fire, but still, you know what I'm saying? That don't make a difference, you know what I'm saying? But still, though, you know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna pull up, it's gonna be fire every time. But you know what I'm saying? Just move different, just move smarter. You know what I'm saying? As men, we really gotta move smarter. We gotta make good decisions. You know what I'm saying? And shit, it ain't your life ain't no cat worth risking your life over, man. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. So just make sure, brothers, y'all move wisely, man. Man, y'all drop your comments in there, man. Let me know what y'all think about this situation. I get it. I'm 100% on the understanding of he didn't have no business at her crib. I'm 100% on that. And then to find out it was an older, so that automatically make it what it is. But it's the way that you move. The results of how the shit go on is gonna be how you move. And you know, she moved in a manner that wasn't consistent with the law. And that's where she ended up, man. Y'all drop a comment in there, man. Let me know how y'all feel about it, man. Tap in.